What's going on, my friends? Today I'm asking a question that perhaps no one is asking, but I'll bring up anyways just for fun. That question is the SKX007 still relevant today? Before I explain my answer, let me be very clear that I am no expert. I am not qualified to pass any kind of legitimate judgment on any watch, and my intelligence level is on par with a moderately trained monkey, and moderately trained is being generous. I am simply a man that likes shiny objects and wasting money on things that tick, bang, and go vroom. So with that out of the way, my personal belief is that the short answer is yes, it is very much still relevant. And the long answer is it depends. I say it depends because it does depend on how you are approaching this question. Are you just looking for a watch because you need a watch? Are you looking specifically for the SKX style? Or are you a watch enthusiast overall? Because if you're in the market for a watch out of simple utilitarian necessity, then the SKX is an outdated and overpriced watch that doesn't make any sense compared to what is readily available and currently in production. I would say the biggest weakness of the SKX now is the price when you don't know where to shop. A quick Google search will reveal prices of $600 and up, which is ridiculous. The SKX is nowhere close to a $600 watch. It's not even a $400 watch. I'd say the absolute highest I would recommend for a pristine, mint condition SKX007 is $300, and that's pushing it. But nothing good ever came easy, right? If you're willing to do some digging and get involved in the watch community, you'll be able to find plenty of great condition SKXs secondhand at reasonable deals. As a point of reference, I got mine for $150 in 2021 when the cost of a new SKX was what I think at its peak. The next weakness, I think, is the 7S26 movement. For the uninitiated, that means it's an automatic watch that lacks hand winding and is also not hacking. Personally, I'm fine with a non-hacking movement. I set my watches fast, so precise time setting is not a priority of mine. But not being able to hand wind the movement is a serious buzzkill for me. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with the 7S26 movement, but like I said before, the 7S26 doesn't make sense when compared to what is readily available and currently in production. Why opt for an unwindable watch when you could get the newer 4R36? And even the 4R36 is getting old, which should put into perspective just how ridiculous getting the SKX as a tool watch is. There's simply way too many modern options out there that will give you that bang for your buck quality that we're all looking for. But before I start making you think that I hate the SKX, there's still a lot of very good qualities about the SKX. It is an ISO rated dive watch. It has excellent lume that could only have been legendary when it was first released. It has a screw down crown, and it has a beautifully closed Prospex caseback. So even if the SKX can be considered dated, it can still hold its own out in the field, which is admirable. It's like the 50-year-old Marine that can still outrun some of the 20-year-olds in the PFT. If you're a collector, take all of those good things I mentioned above, and then add the fact that it's the SKX. There aren't that many watches in this tier of watch collecting that are as iconic as the SKX.
It's gonna be legend. Wait for it.
And as a watch collector, there's a ton of value in that. As a collector, you simply cannot replace the SKX with anything else. To this day, watches are being compared to the SKX and being crowned as the SKX killer, which means whether you like it or not, the SKX was deemed as the golden standard at some point in time, which gives it historical relevance in the watch community and something worthy of owning. Personally, I like all of the details combined that make the SKX what it is, from the classic seiko branding, to the red text, to the screw down crown and caseback. All these superficial and physical details combined has yet to be replaced by anything else. Admittedly, these are small details that wouldn't matter to normal people, but I'm a Seiko fanboy. I'm a watch addict. I am not normal. You could argue that the Seiko sports models have replaced the SKX, but I will tell you they have not. There's no amount of proof that would convince me that they have. I think they're around 60% SKX, which is not SKX enough for me. Then there's the Orient Triton, which I would actually say does make a great replacement for the SKX. It improves on many of the things that I found lacking in the SKX, is priced accordingly, and is built like a shit brick house. It's a fantastic watch, and it undeniably shares the same DNA as the SKX while objectively being better in certain aspects. But it is not an SKX, and if you're a true collector, then no amount of settling is going to fill that SKX-shaped hole in your heart. I need to remind you guys that I'm speaking from the shoes of a collector, of someone who finds value in intangible things like history and legacy. My so-called logic is not going to sound logical to many, but I hope that at least some of you understand where I'm coming from. If you're not so invested in collecting and you're more of a casual enthusiast, then I wholeheartedly recommend alternatives such as the Seiko Sports or Orient Triton. There's also so many other lesser known SKX models like the 399, 401, and etc. The world is really your oyster if you're willing to step away from being locked into the original. Those other models provide just as good, if not more quality, and they also share the same aesthetic appeal that made us love the SKX in the first place. So, this is a whole hell of a lot of overthinking over a stupid watch, right? Well, I disagree. I think it's a beautiful thing to appreciate these things, and to be able to think about why it's special, or why it's not. It becomes especially more important to me as I get deeper into all of this and establish my own watch personality. But, as always, a simple yes or no answer is rare because there are so many variables to consider. So in the case of today's question, is the SKX007 still relevant today? The answer, to me, remains yes. The answer for you? Well, that depends, and that's all part of the journey.